Be'ezrat Hashem. So we continue. At the end of the last shiur, we addressed the punchline of the pre-requirement in order to acquire da'at, which is the bikush and the hipus, wanting and looking for it, investing efforts into finding, yes, the da'at, and eventually we say, where do you find it? It's within you. It's within you, yes, and that's how you actually acquire it, yes. So the more you acknowledge that there is the da'at is there, and that's the bikush, right? Is that you want it because you understand its value, you understand the impact it has on your life. And number two, you now look for it, knowing that it's foundable, right? It's just a question of effort. Just like when you go into a mine and you look for gold or you look for diamond, you know that there's gold there. You just have to find it. But we know that there is gold. Yes. So now we're going to learn the mevo bet. If the da'at is such a big koach, yeah, a big power, big asset, and so deep and so essential. So how do now we translate that da'at into a koach that is practical, tangible, graspable, reliable, so that it can have a real impact in our life on a more consistent base than just theoretical. על זה הדריך אותנו האדמו"ר מרן רבי ירוחם הלוי. Rabbi Yochanan Levi taught us a way to translate that theoretical idea of what da'at represents, yes, into practical action. הוא כתב בפנקסו הקבלות ליום הכיפורים, עוד בימי חוכמו. There is a minhag in the Olam HaTorah and by the Yerei Hashem to do accountability before Yom Kippur of what has been done during the year, what has not been done, growth, failures, setbacks, accomplishments. And based on that, the person evaluates where he's holding, and he takes upon himself now kabbalot, right, on the upcoming year. I was weak in this aspect of my life, then I have to be stronger, so I'm going to take upon myself to do certain mitzvot that will reinforce that weakness, yes, etc., etc. So part of the kabbalot that he took when he was still very young, and he writes like this in his diary, if you will, right? Shavti vera'iti. Very careful, the words of Rabbi Yochanan. Shavti, I sat, vera'iti, and I saw. To sit and to see, yes, address two kochot hanefesh. First of all, to sit means to have yeshuvat da'at, detach himself. He detached himself from the noise and the distraction that was around him. In order to introspect, analyze, assess. You cannot assess yourself and you cannot introspect your behavior when you are disturbed by the noise around you. It's only when you take the moment of Yeshuvat Da'at that you can actually now dive in, which is a very, very important lesson, just these two words, because we tend to dwell within ourselves while we're busy with things around us. And we think we're actually really investing effort into analyzing ourselves in an objective way, where in reality, yes, that effort is stained and contaminated by the influence that's around us, by the tirdot, by the obligations, by the noise. And therefore, we don't have a clean lens to introspect. So So if we really want to do Heshbon HaNefesh and we really want to introspect, it is important, Shafti, Yeshuv HaDaat, to detach ourselves from the ongoing, from the noise, and then Ra'iti. Then you can actually see through your neshama, see through your essence what needs to happen. And he says like this, She'en ani birshut atzmi. Rabbi Yerucham, when he was young, he understood that he's not in control of himself. But I am, he says, I am in the hands of the others. והוא החומר עם אבותיו ותולדותיו, אשר הם שולטים בקרבי. And the Homer, okay, of the produce, yes, im avotav v'toldotav, where it's coming from, and the toladot, meaning the triggers, okay, of my behavior, v'toldotav, and the outcome of my behavior, and Hashem sholtim v'kirbi. They come, they are controlled by others. So again, Rabbi Yerucham, yes, understands that he is not in control of his life for two reasons. Because he is triggered by people around him, and the outcome is also based on others. What he does is based on it, right? So the reason why he's behaving or the way he behaves is because of his surrounding, what we call peer pressure. And the outcome of his behavior is also, yes, the fruit of what others expect from him. Two different things. What motivates the person, right? And the actual action. Both of them are triggered by outsiders. So he says, I'm not in control of myself. And he says, that's not bad enough. Now, you may feel and think, okay, at least I know that I'm under people's influence, and it's okay, it is what it is. But at least I know that I'm not myself. Says Rabbi Yerucham, no, that the people and the environment, yes, makes you believe that you're in control when you're really not in control. And they play with your mind, right? And they twist your mind, and they twist your analysis and your assessment of situations to make you think that you're in control when you're really not in control. This is an underlying manipulation from society and from the Yetzer Hara, also from within. It is usually, yes, done through what we call the dimyon, the imagination. The imagination is the tool in our intellect that is used by outsiders in order to make us believe certain things and convince us that what we do is really coming from us or is really good for us. For example, look at any marketing. Yes, when you all these companies that market their clothing or any product that they sell, yes, they go into your dimyon, into your imagination, and they make you look, that you want to buy a t-shirt or a short or running shoes. They put you this amazing guy that's like, or that fake man, yeah, and he's all sculptured, and you see the t-shirt, and you, wow, look how great it looks on the guy. It says that, and you project the image and thinking that that's what you're going to look like. The only difference is that you're overweight, 100 pounds, and that's not going to happen. You know what I'm saying? But yet, how does the sell happen? The sell happens because of the imagination that's being triggered and tapped into. So says Rabbi Yerucham, the same thing in your behavior. And that's what he understood. Is like the reason why the triggers that make me do things and the actions I choose to do, yes, are controlled by others. It's because they have access to my dimyon and to my imagination, and they will manipulate it and convince it that to the point where I think that this is me, when in reality it's not. And the entire purpose, אשר אך לגרש את האדם מן הטוב, זהו כל רצונם. Yes? The outcome is what? And the purpose is what? To be megaresh, to uproot the person from his own good. And what is the own good of the person? The good of the person is the equilibrium and the integrity the person develops within himself to live a life that is really proper to him, and not the life of someone else. Yeah. לכן, based on that analysis and that introspection, says Rabbi Yerucham, קיבלתי עליי בלי נדר. I took upon myself, ללמד עצמי לעשות את הדעת למושל בקרבי. To teach myself how to make the da'at, my da'at, the ruler over my behavior. So the Rabbi Yerucham understands that if my da'at is in control and is the ruler of my behavior, I become free, I become independent, and now I can become myself and give myself the real opportunity to exteriorize and express my true essence. To exist, the word exist is a combination of two Latin words, extra iste, to exteriorize your essence. This is the definition of the word exist. Rabbi Yerucham says, in order to exist, I need da'at. And he says, Ulai ya'azreni Hashem. Maybe HaKadosh Baruch Hu, by doing this ishtadlut, will help me. And what was the Kabbalah that he took upon himself? קיבלתי עליי בלי נדר לעשות בכל יום 5 פעמים עניינים נגד הרצון. I took upon myself to do 5 times a day an action through awareness, being aware, an action with awareness against my ratzon, against my desire, against my instinct. ובקנס, אם אחסר איזה יום, 10 קפיקס. And if I miss out one day these 5 actions, I have to pay 10 kapikas, $10 a day. And that is the knas. So look at how far Rabbi Yerucham went. Rabbi Yerucham understood that, that I need the da'at. But if I need da'at, I first have to what? First have to stop the instinct, right? Because the instinct is so fast that when I behave through my instinct, I don't even give myself a chance to use my da'at, right? So that's the sur merah. The sur merah is to hold off from a ratzon, from an instinctive reaction. Now, in order to make this valuable and serious, yes, he said there's a knas, there's a punishment. If I don't do it, then I have to feel it. And if I feel it and it's hurting, then I'm going to be responsible and actually take it seriously. So when we want to grow seriously and we really want to change, we have to be ready to pay the price. We have to be ready to sacrifice if we don't do it, if we don't commit and follow the commitment. So it says Rav Wolbe, דבר נפלא זה נמצא בשער הדעת בספר דעת חוכמה מוסר בשיחות האדמו"ר נוחי עדן בעמוד 9. Okay, so you can find that quote from Rabbi Yerucham in דעת חוכמה מוסר, yes, at the beginning, בספר נאמר, כן, ובספר נאמר אחרי הדברים הנ"ל, למעלת הדעת, שם מגמת פניו בכל עבודת שלמותו בחיים. If a person wants to reach shlemut, success in his growth, it's all in the ma'alat ha'da'at. It's all in the growth of the da'at. ומשם הוא שזכה לראות ביש האלוקים להתברך במידות כל. And that's how a person is blessed to see the redemption, the help of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and to be blessed with the midah that is called kol. And kol, the midat kol is bina, which is kol gematria 50, 50 share bina, right? And kol is a shalem, ולהיות משכיל בכל דרכיו, and to have the wisdom and clarity in all his actions and all decisions he has to make, from the beginning until the end. So Rabbi Yerucham summarizes the importance of the da'at as the source of all blessings, yes, and the ability to be zoche to siyata dishmaya, to the help of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, but also to clarity in order to make the right decisions in his life. Can continue or? כאן נתגלה לנו מהלך נפלא לקניין הדעת. Okay, here Rabbi Yerucham reveals to us how to acquire דעת. האדם הפשוט חי עם הרצונות הקטנים שלו. A very mundane man, a regular man, lives based on his instinct. Yes? And his small desires. הוא מפסיק ללימודו כדי לשתות קצת, right? He's in the middle of it and he stops, let me have coffee, או כדי לספר לחברו איזה בדיחה, or he stops and he says, let me give you, I have a joke, or I have a story. כשהוא נמצא בין חבריו, הוא רוצה להתבלט קצת, when he's amongst friends, he wants to loosen up, he wants to free himself a little bit, to take it easy. בלכתו ברחוב הוא רוצה להסתכל קצת בבני אדם, ובמה שנעשה שם, right? When he's walking on the street, he wanders, he wants to look right, he wants to look left, images and his surrounding attract his attention. כך הוא מתגלש מרצון אחד לרצון שני. And that's how he lives his life, jumping from one desire to another, from one trigger to another. וכן הוא מתגלש ממצב אחד למצב שני. And on a bigger level, he goes, that's how he lives his situations in life. And that's how he addresses situation, right? From one ratzon to another. בכל מצב שולט בו רצון קטן אחר. Every situation he's in, how does he deal with it? Another little instinct. An instinct there, an instinct there. A reaction here and a reaction there. And that's what his life is made of. רצונות אלו מקורם במידות או בחושים. These emotions and these desires, they come from the senses, right? From the instinct. בכל עוד שאדם חי עם הרצונות האלה, as long as man lives this way and behaves through those רצונות, אין מקום לדעת בחייו. He has no chance to relate or connect to דעת, or even acquire it, קל וחומר. את זה גילה האדמו"ר נחור עדן וקיבל על עצמו להתרגל כל יום ללכת נגד רצונות אלה. For that reason, Rabbi Yerucham took upon himself to go against the רצונות, to break those רצונות, to break that habit of instinctive reaction. ובזה פינה מקום לדעת, and by doing this, he freed himself, yes, a time in order to have the opportunity to now use his da'at or identify his da'at so that he can react based on the da'at. כיצד יתנהג במצבים השונים בחיים? אם אין הרצון שולט ממילא במצב אחד. Think about it. If you don't behave through the instinctive system, right, and you stop yourself, at that point, you're not interactive anymore, right? That's it. You have cut yourself from everything around you if you don't use your instinctive reaction. So what will that force? It will force you now to trigger another koach that's within you if you're not instinctive. And what is that koach? That's the da'at. And that's what he says. אם אין הרצון שולט ממילא במצב אחד, הוא מוכרח לשאול את עצמו. So now you're going to start asking yourself the question, okay, I didn't act instinctively. So now what? What do I do? כיצד הוא חייב להתנהג אז? When he asks himself the question, okay, now how do I behave? If I didn't behave instinctively, so how do I have to behave now? The answer to that question and the question itself reside in the da'at. כשאדם מתרגל להחליט בכל מצב על פי הדעת, הוא יהיה חי. When a person educates himself and takes on the habit to interact and act based on the da'at, he is now alive. And הוא יהיה חי עם הדעת בכל מצבי החיים. Suddenly, now his life is infused with da'at. וזה נהיה האדם לבר דעת. This behavior and this practice, right, is what make a person a bar da'at. So again, we have two ways, yes, to interact. One way is the instinctive behavior, which is what we pick up since the day we were born. We grow with an instinct. Yeah? But unfortunately, nobody at the age of 13 tells us, hey, by the way, now you have da'at, shift, explore this koach. And instead, all we do is change toys with the same behavior. We start with baby toys, then we grown-up toys, then we want the bicycle, and then we want the car, and then we want pleasures. Yeah. At the end, all we do is just change the scenery, but we don't change ourselves. And that's because we identify ourselves through the instinct. Says Rabbi Yerucham, by stopping that ratzon, by pausing, by holding on to that ratzon, now you disconnect yourself from your surrounding, and that will force you to think, okay, so how do I behave now? And the assessment and the analysis of how do I respond to a situation is where the da'at is. And this is where we call also da'at Torah. The more Torah you have, and the more clarity you have in the decision you need to make, because now you have more information. Your bank of information to make a decision on how to behave is now based on Torah and Kedusha. Baruch Hashem. This is, with this we completed the second Mevo and the introduction of the Sefer.
Exactly.
Baruch